Hey there, this is Seth Juarez. We're here in Orlando, Florida for the Worldwide Partner Conference 2015. This is season 2 of Launchpad series. I'm filling in for Baldwin. This is where we talk to ISVs about some of the great value they're putting on top of the Microsoft stack. We have a special guest here. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. I'm Richard Marshall. I'm the Channel Sales Director for Transvault Software.
Fantastic.
And we're here today to talk about our archive migrations to Office 365 using our migration tool called Sprint.
Fantastic. Let's dig in.
Excellent. So what we'll cover today in our little chat here is who is Transvault, talk a bit about what our customers are facing in terms of challenges with archive migrations.
Okay.
We'll talk a bit about the tool, which is called Transvault Sprint. We'll do a demo, and then we have a few call to actions and an offer for partners.
Awesome. Well, let's see what you got.
All right. So Transvault is a pure ISV. We were first to market and remain the leaders in email archive migrations. We were established in 2007, and we were driven to create the product by a myriad of change scenarios which were happening in the marketplace. Our first foray into archive migrations was driven by a large financial bank in Europe who had a need to do a notes to exchange migration, and that was really the genesis of it all back in 2007.
I see.
So our first release was in 2007. We currently have 4 offices, office in the USA, Canada, UK, and Europe. We're entirely dedicated to the channel, so we offer no consultative services, we sell no licenses direct to end clients. We're wholly reliant on our specialist certified delivery partner network, and in our expansion into the Office 365 migration arena, we are building a new channel where we are recruiting for Sprint partners, which will enable us to expand our reach and offer a simpler way forward to Office 365 migrations.
Cool.
So Transvault is a very proven and, again, first to market tool. We have done over 1,000 migrations, projects around the globe. We've moved over 15 petabytes of data, many for clients in very highly regulated industries that are dealing with a lot of compliance concerns. And we're constantly innovating as we've seen many changes in the marketplace, and most readily today, the great juggernaut to Office 365 has meant that a migration path to Office 365 is a huge chunk of our business and for our partners.
Cool. So if I understand correctly, the main work that you do is migrating email or those kind of services directly to, for example, O365.
Exactly. Specifically legacy email archives. So we don't move live mailbox data. There are other vendor tools for that. But for clients who have archives, we move those archives.
That's awesome, because it feels like if you're trying to move your infrastructure to the cloud and you have all this legacy data, it feels like you kind of have to keep all that machinery around. You're saying you can move it all to the cloud and have it all there.
Exactly right.
Awesome.
Yep. So the challenges that our customers face are really threefold. It's time, it's complexity, and cost. So from a time standpoint, all customers want, time is money. They want the migration projects to progress as quickly as possible. They often have very large quantities of data from, double digits to hundreds of terabytes of data, and
wow.
We've handled projects of all sizes. And the other particular concern is that these clients will have a lot of inactive users or leaver mailboxes and data for those inactive employees or contractors even that need to be taken into account with the migration. And so that ratio of inactive to active users can be quite large, 4 to 1.
I see.
And from a complexity standpoint, as there are legal and other compliance drivers, between the IT department and the legal department they often have to sort of knock heads to decide exactly what data they want to take. That can be by simply X many numbers of years worth of data versus we only need to move an active user data, or we only need to move data that contains attachments, for example. There's various filters that can be brought to bear. And from a cost standpoint, when clients are, say, moving to Office 365, moving their live mailboxes and then need to contend with the archive, that archive piece often does not get fully understood until the end of the live mailbox migration and the stand-up of O365. So customers can often be bowled over by the cost incurred in moving a legacy archive, especially when the budget has been consumed by moving the live mailboxes and the architecture stand-up of O365.
Why? Yeah. Wow.
So in tackling those three issues of time, complexity, and cost, we have come to market with the Sprint tool, which is designed to remove those barriers when migrating legacy data into Office 365. So what is TransVault Sprint? It's a purpose-built tool to move archives seamlessly into Office 365, reduce time, complexity, and cost. So it's a very simple drag and drop user interface that's very prescribed in its workflow. And our intent is that partners can run the tool with a lower cost managed service desk resources, or they can offer the end customer an assisted migration where they will do the installation, the deployment, bit of training, and hand it off to the customer because the workflow is very prescribed and easy for a customer with minimal resources to do the migration themselves. It includes enterprise features, highly scalable, very fast ingestions into Office 365. We have what we've branded Cloud Stream Ingestion, which is some IP that we developed with the Microsoft Office 365 products team. And we've seen improvements in ingestion throughput, moving that data to Office 365 as high as a factor of 20x from our previous software release. And that version is on the market today. This tool is going to offer the client full end-to-end chain of custody so that they can ensure that every message item that was in, say, legacy Symantec Enterprise Vault can be mapped and accounted for in the user mailbox in Office 365. And for clients who are particularly in those highly regulated industries and need that chain of custody audit and proof, that's very important to them. And also very important from the user experience in these legacy archive moves, using Symantec Enterprise Vault as an example, it's very common to use what's called stubbing or archive shortcutting. And when that item is moved to Office 365, we need to make sure that there is no impact on the user so that when they need to access that old item, they can easily do so in Office 365. And this tool accounts for that. And from a cost standpoint, it's a much lower price point than our flagship tool, which was the first tool to market. This is expressly designed as a low cost, low impact, easy to use proposition.
Awesome. Well, can we see how it works?
We can indeed. Okay, so we're now going to launch into a demo of the TransVault Sprint tool. And so this user interface has very much of a tablet look and feel, Windows Metro, and again, it has a very prescribed workflow. So we'll begin with setting the migration path and configuring that. So very simply here, you'll see that there's a source archive. In this instance, it is going to be a Symantec Enterprise Vault for Exchange, and we also support the HP EAS Legacy Archive platform as well, but for this demo purposes, it's Enterprise Vault. And so very easily, we're going to pick a target, and in this case, it's going to be for Office 365. So very easily, you just click on through, and next it's going to ask for some configuration details. So we're going to make a connection to the database server. In this case, we're going to call it EUDB. And the database name is already pre-populated here, Enterprise Vault Directory, database owner. We have the ability to use database or Windows authentication. In this case, we're going to select Windows authentication. And then now we're going to configuration the destination target, which is going to be Office 365, but we support migrations into Exchange on-premise as well.
Cool.
So we've got an Office 365 server name here, and the authentication credentials are already established. We're going to proceed to the next step. As an alternative, we do support Microsoft's PST Drive shipping program, but this tool is first and foremost designed to provide that full chain of custody over the wire using Microsoft's Exchange Web Services protocol. So in this case, we're going to uncheck the Enable Alternate Output, proceed to the next step, which is to configure the shortcuts and the mail server to process the shortcuts on. So we're going to make a connection here to configure. So here we have the settings already pre-populated, and we're going to assume that all of these parameters are correct. And next we move forward to configuring the LDAP connection. For the LDAP server name, we're going to plug in EURODC. Port's already configured. Authentication method here is anonymous. And the next step, it's going to analyze the customer's source data. And as in this example here, we see that for the storage locations, we have 2. And for user mailbox archives, we have a total of 6,270 user mailboxes. We have 10 journal archives, and retention categories that have been established are 4. So we're going to proceed to map the archives. And in this example, you can review manually, you can edit to review or manually map the archives here. So we're going to click Edit. Everything appears good here, so we'll click OK. And on to the next step. So you're going to create a task to migrate this batch of users. In this case, we're going to call it batch 1. If I could just type. So the source data type here is user mailbox archives. In the subtasks here, we're going to migrate messages, and we're going to delete the shortcuts that are in that Enterprise Vault archive for the user mailboxes. So the retrieval method here, and this is an aspect of TransVault that differentiates us from other competing archive migration tools, is that we have what's called a hybrid connector to Enterprise Vault, which utilizes a direct connection to the source as well as that author's API. So you get the benefit of speed with direct and fidelity and error handling with being able to utilize that author's API. So in this case, for Enterprise Vault, it's using our hybrid connector. And so we're going to migrate the data to Office 365 primary mailboxes. Leave that there. We'll select the archives here. And so before selecting the mailbox, we want to set up a few filter groups here. So in this instance, we're going to filter by AD groups. And here we're going to select the IT and finance departments only.
And so you can migrate sort of departments, you know, on a case-by-case basis as they start to move into the
Exactly, groups of users, precisely right. And so in this instance, we want to migrate all of these user archives. So we'll just select all here. Next, we'll add a task. So as we were saying before, there are a number of filtering options that can be brought to bear, but in this use case example, since we're just going to move through, we're going to migrate all.
Cool.
Yep. This tool has the ability to manage processing threads to speed the project along. So there are default settings here. Those can be adjusted. In this case, we're going to set at 20 retrieval threads and 25 processing threads. And very simply here, it's drag and drop. We've established the connection to the source, and we've established our destination, which is Office 365. So it's simply drag and drop, and you're good to go.
Nice.
And you can see there's a bit of a fluid bar here showing the migration progress, rather, and you see various panels of information about what is happening in production in terms of percentage of archives moves, percentage of messages, and so forth.
That's awesome. So this incredibly complex task of trying to migrate users is really just a couple of clicks and moving stuff over.
Exactly right.
That's fantastic.
Exactly right.
Well, where can folks go to find out more?
Well, what's next is we encourage the partner community to test out Sprint, and they can contact us to get an online demo at sprint@transvault.com. And we're also making this available in the Azure Marketplace.
Awesome.
Yep.
Fantastic.
And for new partners that are joining us, we're offering 1 terabyte of data free for those that are attending WPC.
Oh, well, that's really cool.
Yep.
Well,
We've also made a white paper available that talks about Office 365 compliance in one-stop shop with us.
fantastic. Well,
All right.
thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you very much.
We're here at Worldwide Partner Conference, Orlando, Florida. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Thank you.